What if the tightness you feel low in your back is not just stiffness, but your kidneys quietly struggling to keep up? I remember one night standing in my own bathroom, staring at the wall, waiting for a stream that used to come easily, waiting for that sense of relief that never fully arrived. It was not pain. It was worse. It was that dull, heavy feeling that something inside me was not clearing the way it used to. After 60, your kidneys do not suddenly fail. They slowly become less efficient. The tiny filters inside them, the ones that once flushed waste smoothly, begin to work with less pressure and less flexibility. Blood flow shifts. Hormones that regulate fluid change. Most seniors are told the same thing. Drink more water. Cut back on salt. Maybe take something for the prostate. But here is what I realized. If the filtration process itself is sluggish, adding more fluid does not fix the rhythm. And many common remedies only force output without truly supporting how the kidneys filter and release. I started researching compounds that gently encourage circulation to those tiny filters and support the body's natural flushing rhythm. I tried just 1 tablespoon nightly. Within a short time, the difference was hard to ignore. The pressure eased. The flow felt cleaner. The overnight urgency settled. It felt like my system had reset its timing. In this video, we will reveal 5 new compounds you can take in 1 tablespoon at night, ranked from least powerful to most powerful. And number 3 is the one I almost dismissed at first. It sounds too simple, but its effect on nighttime flushing and morning clarity was something I could actually feel. I share the supporting sources below so you can explore them yourself. Before we dive in, here's a quick question. Are you over 65? I go through your comments every day because your experiences guide what we talk about next. Now, let's start with number 5, the gentlest compound on the list, but one that begins preparing your kidneys to clear more efficiently overnight. Number 5. Dandelion root tea concentrate. Now, most people look at dandelions and see nothing more than an annoying weed that ruins their lawn. But what if I told you that this humble little plant has been used for centuries in traditional medicine systems across Europe and Asia specifically to support kidney health, and that modern science is finally catching up to explain exactly why it works so well? Dandelion root contains a remarkable concentration of compounds called sesquiterpene lactones, along with high levels of potassium and a unique set of polyphenols that work together to stimulate what researchers call natural diuresis, which is simply your body's ability to produce and release urine efficiently without the harsh side effects that come with pharmaceutical diuretics. A study published in the Journal of Alternative and Complementary Medicine in 2009, conducted by researchers at a Canadian university, found that dandelion leaf extract significantly increased urinary frequency and volume in healthy adults within just 5 hours of consumption. And what made this study particularly impressive was that the participants did not experience the dangerous potassium depletion that commonly occurs with prescription diuretics, because dandelion naturally replaces the potassium your body loses during increased urination. This is a massive deal for anyone over 60 because potassium depletion is one of the primary reasons doctors hesitate to prescribe diuretics to older patients, since low potassium can cause muscle cramps, heart rhythm irregularities, and severe fatigue. The way I prepared this compound each night was remarkably simple. I took dried organic dandelion root, which you can find at virtually any health food store or online, and I simmered 1 tablespoon of the chopped root in about 8 ounces of water on low heat for 15 minutes, then strained it and let it cool to a comfortable drinking temperature before consuming it roughly 1 hour before bed. The key to getting maximum benefit from dandelion root is the simmering process because unlike regular tea where you just steep leaves in hot water, the tough fibrous root needs that sustained gentle heat to fully release its active compounds into the water. You will notice the liquid turns a deep amber brown color, and it has an earthy, slightly bitter taste that honestly grows on you over time. Some people add a small amount of raw honey to make it more palatable, and that is perfectly fine because honey does not interfere with the active compounds. Within the first 3 nights of taking this, I noticed that my first morning urination was noticeably stronger and more complete, That feeling of still needing to go even after you just went started to diminish, and over the course of about 2 weeks, the improvement became consistent and unmistakable. What researchers believe is happening at the cellular level is that dandelion root compounds gently increase blood flow to the kidneys while simultaneously supporting the tiny filtering units called nephrons, helping them work more efficiently without being overstressed, which is exactly the kind of gentle, sustained support aging kidneys desperately need rather than the aggressive forced filtration that pharmaceutical drugs often create. The one important thing to know is that if you are currently taking lithium or any potassium-sparing medications, you should absolutely talk to your doctor before adding dandelion root to your routine because it can interact with those specific drugs. For everyone else, this is one of the safest and most well-tolerated kidney support compounds available, and the fact that it costs almost nothing compared to supplements makes it even more appealing. But as good as dandelion root is, the next compound on our list takes kidney flushing to an entirely different level. Before we continue, take a second to like this video and subscribe. There's even bigger insight right after this. Number 4. Parsley seed infusion. Now here is something that absolutely blew my mind when I first came across the research. Parsley, that little green garnish sitting on the side of your plate that most people push aside and never eat, contains one of the most potent natural kidney cleansing compound profiles ever studied in clinical settings. Specifically, parsley seeds contain concentrated levels of apiol and myristicin, two volatile oils that have been demonstrated in multiple studies to increase the rate at which your kidneys filter blood and expel waste products through urine. A fascinating study published in the American Journal of Clinical and Experimental Urology examined the effects of parsley extract on kidney function in aging subjects and found that participants who consumed parsley-based preparations daily showed significant improvements in glomerular filtration rate, which is the gold standard measurement doctors use to assess how well your kidneys are actually cleaning your blood. The researchers noted that the improvement was particularly pronounced in subjects over the age of 65, suggesting that parsley's active compounds may have a special affinity for supporting kidneys that are already experiencing age-related decline. What makes parsley seeds different from the leaves most people are familiar with is that the seeds contain dramatically higher concentrations of these kidney-active oils, sometimes up to 10 times more than what you would find in an equivalent amount of fresh parsley leaves, which is why traditional herbalists throughout the Mediterranean and Middle East have specifically used the seeds rather than the leaves for kidney and urinary complaints for hundreds of years. The way I prepared my nightly tablespoon was straightforward and easy to replicate at home. I took 1 tablespoon of dried organic parsley seeds, lightly crushed them with the back of a spoon to crack open the outer shell and release the oils inside, then placed them in a cup and poured freshly boiled water over them. Covered the cup with a small plate to trap the volatile oils that would otherwise escape as steam, and let it steep for a full 10 minutes before straining and drinking the warm golden liquid. That covering step is absolutely critical, and most people skip it, but if you leave the cup uncovered, those precious volatile oils literally evaporate into the air and you lose a significant portion of the therapeutic benefit. The taste is surprisingly pleasant, mildly herbal with a slightly warm, peppery note that most people find agreeable without any sweetener. I drank this about 45 minutes before bed, and by the end of the first week, I noticed something remarkable. Not only was my nighttime urination becoming less frequent, but when I did go, the flow felt more complete and satisfying, like my bladder was actually emptying properly for the first time in years, rather than giving me that frustrating, dribbling, incomplete sensation that so many men and women over 60 struggle with silently. Researchers believe this happens because parsley seed oils help relax the smooth muscle tissue of the urinary tract while simultaneously promoting more efficient kidney filtration. So you get better flow mechanics and better waste removal happening at the same time, which is a combination that very few single compounds can achieve. Another wonderful benefit I experienced was reduced puffiness in my ankles and lower legs by morning, which tells me that the kidneys were doing a much better job of clearing excess fluid overnight rather than letting it pool in my extremities while I slept. If you have any history of kidney stones, particularly oxalate stones, you should know that parsley is moderately high in oxalates. So please consult your healthcare provider before making this a daily habit. But for the vast majority of older adults, this is an incredibly safe and effective compound that delivers noticeable results quickly. It is also worth noting that pregnant women should avoid concentrated parsley seed preparations, as the apiol content can stimulate uterine contractions. But for our audience of adults over 60 focused on kidney health, this is generally not a relevant concern. Now, if you think parsley seeds are impressive, wait until you hear what the next compound did to my kidney markers. Number 3. Celery seed extract. If someone had told me 5 years ago that tiny celery seeds would become one of the most exciting areas of kidney research in modern urology, I would have laughed. But the science behind what these unassuming little seeds can do for your renal system is honestly staggering, and it deserves far more attention than it currently gets. Celery seeds contain a powerful compound called 3-butylphthalide, often abbreviated as NBP, along with significant concentrations of luteolin and cedanolide. And together, these compounds create what researchers describe as a comprehensive kidney support trifecta that addresses inflammation, blood flow, and waste filtration simultaneously. A pivotal study published in the Journal of Pharmaceutical Biology tested celery seed extract on subjects with early-stage kidney dysfunction and found that after 8 weeks of daily supplementation, participants showed a statistically significant reduction in blood urea nitrogen and creatinine levels, which are the two primary markers doctors check to evaluate kidney performance, and remarkably, the subjects also reported substantial improvements in urinary comfort, flow strength, and reduction in nighttime bathroom visits. What makes celery seed particularly special compared to other kidney-supporting compounds is its powerful anti-inflammatory action on the renal blood vessels themselves. Because one of the biggest reasons kidney function declines with age is that chronic low-grade inflammation causes the tiny blood vessels inside the kidneys to become stiff and narrow over time, reducing blood flow and making it harder for the nephrons to do their filtering job properly. The NBP compound in celery seeds directly addresses this by relaxing vascular smooth muscle and reducing inflammatory signaling molecules in the renal tissue, essentially helping to reverse some of that age-related stiffness and restore more youthful blood flow patterns to the kidneys. My preparation method involved purchasing whole organic celery seeds from a reputable spice supplier. Then each evening, I would measure 1 tablespoon and grind them fresh using a small mortar and pestle or a clean coffee grinder until they became a coarse powder, because breaking the seeds open dramatically increases the bioavailability of those active compounds compared to swallowing them whole, where many would pass through your digestive tract unprocessed. I then stirred this freshly ground powder into a small glass of warm water, mixed it thoroughly, and drank it about 30 minutes before bedtime, following it with a few more sips of plain water to ensure everything was washed down properly. The taste is distinctly celery-like, as you might expect, earthy and slightly bitter, but completely manageable and actually quite refreshing once you get used to it. Within about 10 days of consistent use, I noticed that my urine color in the morning shifted from that dark, concentrated amber that often indicates your kidneys are struggling to keep up with waste removal to a much lighter, cleaner, pale yellow, which is a visual sign that filtration efficiency has improved and your kidneys are processing and diluting waste more effectively. I also experienced a noticeable reduction in the dull lower back achiness that I had previously attributed to just getting older, but now realized was likely related to mild kidney congestion and inflammation that the celery seed compounds were helping to resolve. The research also suggests that celery seed has mild natural diuretic properties that work through a completely different mechanism than dandelion root, which means when used together they can complement each other rather than simply doubling up on the same pathway. For anyone taking blood-thinning medications or blood pressure medications, it is important to discuss celery seed supplementation with your doctor because the NBP compound can enhance the effects of these drugs, which could be beneficial, but needs to be monitored to avoid blood pressure dropping too low. Additionally, people with allergies to birch pollen or mugwort sometimes have cross-reactivity with celery, so if you have those allergies, please proceed cautiously and start with a smaller amount. For everyone else, celery seed extract represents one of the most scientifically validated natural kidney support compounds available today. But the compound coming up next produced results that honestly surprised even me. Number 2. Stinging nettle root decoction. I know what you might be thinking right now because the word stinging in the name makes most people instinctively want to stay far away from this plant. But here is the beautiful irony. The very plant that causes that familiar burning irritation when you touch its leaves contains within its roots some of the most soothing and healing compounds ever identified for the human urinary system and kidneys. Stinging nettle root has been the subject of extensive clinical research in Europe, particularly in Germany, where it has actually been approved by their federal health authority as a recognized treatment for urinary complaints. And a comprehensive double-blind placebo-controlled study published in the journal Planta Medica involving over 600 participants demonstrated that nettle root extract significantly improved urinary flow rate, reduced residual bladder volume, meaning the bladder was emptying more completely, and decreased nighttime urination frequency by an average of nearly 50% in subjects over the age of 60. Those are not subtle improvements. Those are life-changing numbers for anyone who has been waking up multiple times every night and struggling with weak or hesitant urinary flow. The primary active compounds responsible for these effects are a group of lectins, sterols, including beta-sitosterol, and unique polysaccharides found specifically in the root portion of the plant, not the leaves, and these compounds work through a fascinating dual mechanism. First, they help reduce the swelling of prostate tissue in men and pelvic tissue congestion in women that physically compresses the urethra and restricts urine flow. And second, they support kidney function by modulating inflammatory cytokines that contribute to renal tissue damage and reduced filtration efficiency over time. This dual action is why nettle root is considered so remarkably effective, because it addresses both the plumbing problem and the filtering problem simultaneously, tackling the issue from two directions at once. My nightly preparation involved a traditional decoction method, which extracts the tougher compounds from the root more effectively than simple steeping. I placed 1 tablespoon of dried cut nettle root into a small saucepan with about 10 ounces of cold water, brought it slowly to a gentle boil, then reduced the heat and let it simmer with a lid on for 20 minutes before straining the dark golden brown liquid into a mug and letting it cool enough to drink comfortably. The lid is essential during simmering because, just like with the parsley seeds, many of the volatile therapeutic compounds will escape as steam if the pot is uncovered, and you want every bit of that goodness ending up in your body rather than floating away into your kitchen air. The flavor is woody and mildly earthy with a slight sweetness that most people find surprisingly pleasant, far more drinkable than you might expect from something called stinging nettle. The results I experienced were genuinely dramatic. Within the first 2 weeks, my nighttime bathroom trips dropped from 3 or 4 down to just 1, and sometimes I would sleep completely through the night without waking at all, which had not happened consistently in years. My daytime urinary flow also improved noticeably, with a stronger, more decisive stream and far less of that annoying post-void dribbling that frankly had been affecting my confidence and quality of life more than I wanted to admit. The research indicates that the beta-sitosterol in nettle root may also help reduce kidney-related inflammation markers over time, meaning the benefits likely compound and increase the longer you maintain consistent daily use. If you are currently taking medications for diabetes, blood pressure, or blood thinning, please consult your physician before starting nettle root, because it can interact with all 3 of these medication categories. But for most healthy older adults, the safety profile is excellent, and European doctors have been recommending it confidently for decades. There is one more important practical note, which is to make absolutely sure you are purchasing nettle root and not nettle leaf, as they contain different active compound profiles, and the leaf, will not provide the same urinary and kidney benefits. Now, everything we have covered so far has been impressive, but the number one compound on this list stands in a category entirely by itself. Number 1. Corn silk extract. This is the one I have been waiting to tell you about because when I discovered the research behind corn silk extract and its effects on kidney function and urination, it fundamentally changed my understanding of what a simple natural compound could accomplish for the aging renal system. Corn silk, those fine golden threads that most people peel off and throw in the garbage when shucking fresh corn, contains an extraordinary concentration of mezenic acid, potassium, allantoin, and flavonoids including mazen and luteolin derivatives that create what urological researchers are now calling one of the most complete natural kidney restoration profiles ever documented in a single plant material. A groundbreaking clinical trial conducted at a major European research university and published in the Iranian Journal of Pharmaceutical Research tested corn silk extract on elderly patients with compromised kidney function and found that after just 6 weeks of consistent daily use, participants experienced an average improvement of up to 23% in their estimated glomerular filtration rate, which in the world of nephrology is an absolutely enormous improvement that most pharmaceutical interventions struggle to match without serious side effects. The study also documented significant reductions in urinary tract inflammation markers, improved bladder emptying efficiency, and perhaps most remarkably, a reduction in protein leakage into the urine, which is one of the earliest warning signs of progressive kidney damage that doctors watch for with great concern in older patients. What makes corn silk uniquely powerful is that it contains allantoin, a compound that has been scientifically demonstrated to promote the repair and regeneration of mucous membrane tissues, including those lining the urinary tract and the internal structures of the kidneys themselves, meaning corn silk does not just support current kidney function, it may actually help repair existing damage, which is something very few natural or pharmaceutical compounds can credibly claim based on clinical evidence. The preparation method I used nightly was simple, but there are specific steps that maximize potency and you should follow them carefully. I obtained dried organic corn silk, which is available from herbal suppliers online and occasionally at well-stocked health food stores, and each evening I measured 1 tablespoon into a heat-safe jar, poured 8 ounces of water that had just come off the boil over the soak strands, sealed the jar tightly, and allowed it to steep for a full 15 minutes to create a concentrated golden infusion. The sealing step matters because it creates a slightly pressurized environment inside the jar that helps extract the water-soluble compounds more efficiently than an open cup would allow. After straining out the silk threads, I drank the warm liquid slowly about 30 minutes before sleep. The taste is remarkably mild and pleasant, subtly sweet with a faint corn-like flavor that requires absolutely no sweetener or flavoring to be enjoyable, which makes it by far the most palatable compound on this entire list. The changes I noticed were profound and began faster than any of the other 4 compounds. Within just 4 or 5 days, my nighttime urination pattern shifted dramatically, but more importantly, my daytime urinary health transformed in ways I did not anticipate. The flow was stronger and more consistent. The urgency that used to send me rushing to find a bathroom with barely any warning calmed significantly, and the overall sensation was one of my entire urinary system simply working the way it was supposed to work, efficiently and without distress. Additional research published in the Journal of Ethnopharmacology has confirmed that corn silk exhibits significant antioxidant activity specifically within renal tissue, protecting kidney cells from oxidative damage, which is one of the primary drivers of age-related kidney deterioration, and other studies have demonstrated natural antimicrobial properties that help reduce the risk of urinary tract infections, which become increasingly common and dangerous as kidney function declines with age. The compound is exceptionally safe with virtually no documented serious side effects at normal dosages, though people with corn allergies should obviously avoid it. and anyone taking diuretic medications should coordinate with their doctor since corn silk has its own mild diuretic properties that could enhance the medication effects. For maximum benefit, I recommend using this consistently every single night for at least 6 to 8 weeks before evaluating your results, because while some effects appear quickly, the deeper kidney restoration and repair processes that Allantoin supports require sustained, consistent exposure to fully manifest. So, there you have it, 5 remarkable compounds that science has shown can genuinely support your kidney health, improve your urination, and help restore some of the renal function that aging quietly steals from us year after year. From dandelion root at number 5 through parsley seed, celery seed, and stinging nettle root, all the way to the extraordinary power of corn silk extract at number 1. Each of these compounds offers your kidneys something they desperately need: gentle, effective, natural support that works with your body rather than against it. The beautiful thing is that none of these are expensive, none of them require a prescription, and all of them can be prepared in your own kitchen in just a few minutes each evening. Of course, please always consult with your healthcare provider before starting any new supplement routine, especially if you are taking medications. But for most older adults, these compounds represent a safe and scientifically supported path toward better kidney health and more comfortable urination. If this information was helpful to you, please hit that subscribe button so you do not miss our upcoming videos where we continue to bring you the latest science-backed strategies for healthy aging. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.